Should being born into another culture or belief system dictate our morality and ultimately our destination after death, or are all religions pointing to the same thing?
Well, there are two questions there at least. Dictation of morality sounds a little bit like determinism to me. And one of the things that was very important to me was to answer a variant of that question. Remember, I told you the story about being accused of being Irish. Of course you believe in God. Now, what was very important to me, which I didn't mention, was to experience firsthand that it's possible for a person to change their worldview. That was very important to me. And I entered into dialogue with a mathematical friend at Cambridge, and the dialogue went on for 2 years. And at the end of the 2 years, he became a convinced Christian. And that was, for me, the beginning of a whole trail of evidence showing that it is perfectly possible to change your worldview because you believe that another worldview parallels more closely truth. Now, I did a debate with Peter Singer, who's the world's most famous ethicist. And he threw this at me at the very beginning of the debate. You can see it at YouTube. He said, I told the whole audience, which is about this size and was in the town hall but in Melbourne, I said about my parents. And he stood up and he said, well, there you go. You know, you're a Christian because your parents were. This is my big objection to religion. Everybody stays in the religion in which they were born. Well, I then asked him the question. I said, Peter, I told the people about my parents. You didn't tell them about yours. Were they atheists? He said, yes, they were. Oh, I said, so you stayed in the faith in which you were brought up. Oh, but he said it isn't a faith. And I said, Peter, I'm really sorry. I thought you believed it. Now, that is very revealing of the contemporary concept of faith, and I'm not going to go into that. But it showed that he didn't realize his atheism was a belief system, but that supreme irony came at the end when the first person who went up to greet him identified with his culture. And he was delighted to meet this person who came from his culture in Eastern Europe. And then this person said, but I have become a Christian. So the very first person he met at the end of the debate was someone who's changed their worldview. So I think it's a matter of, yes, we are profoundly influenced by our parents. And that isn't all bad. Of course it isn't. But as adults, we come out into the big world and we have to decide what our answers are to the big questions of life. And through life, that is why I've gone about opening myself to questioning like tonight.